But if the mainspring of your service is love for God, no ingratitude, no sin, no devil, no angel can hinder you from serving your fellow men, no matter how they treat you. You can love your neighbor as yourself, not from pity, but from the true centering of yourself in God. Oswald Chambers. For 3.5 years, Jesus taught and trained his disciples to be the forerunners of his kingdom. Yet we do not hear him giving them any formal lessons as we know it on leadership. Could it be that Jesus had a different perspective on the matter? I believe so. As we continue to examine the next segment of his answer to the request put forward by James and John, we will get a clear picture of Jesus' stance on leadership in the kingdom. Remember, he is responding to a request to sit at his right and left hand. Jesus implied that anyone who would hold such positions must be great. But there is a catch. The question then is this: how does one become great? Jesus did not withhold the answer. In the world, the man who is great is the one who controls others, the one to whose word of command others must leap, the one who, with just a wave of his hand, can have his slightest need supplied. But the road to greatness in the kingdom is a one-way street. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Matthew 20:26-27. As far as Jesus is concerned, the field is wide open for anyone who wants to be great in the kingdom. It has little to do with your pedigree, academic qualifications, and/or economic status. Greatness in the kingdom is marked by one thing and one thing only: servitude. This is a concept that most of us frown at, but if we are going to raise true leaders in the church and in the world, we must pay attention to it. Notice that Jesus did not simply say, "Whoever wants to become great." A person cannot be great in a vacuum by himself. His greatness can only be measured by the way he serves among a people with whom he is connected. What Jesus is saying is this: if anyone among you wants to be the leader, he must first become your servant or slave. Why is this so? In the kingdom of God, the way up is down. You do not get up by heading up. You get up by heading down. This is revolutionary, a complete reversal of all the world's standards. A complete new set of values now presents itself for consideration. In order to fully appreciate and practice this style of leadership, we must revisit a time in history that we all would rather forget: slavery. The lessons we are about to learn will change our lives. Doulos is the Greek word from which slave is translated. When Jesus said that a person who would be chief or first among the disciples must be a slave, he was literally saying that that person must become a slave to the other disciples. To fully understand all that this means and implies, we must remember two things about the slave in the ancient world. First, in the eyes of the law, the slave was not treated as a person, but a thing. He had absolutely no rights of his own. His master could do with him as he liked. In the eyes of the law, the slave was a living tool. His master could sell him, beat him, throw him out, and even kill him. His master owned him as completely as he owned any of his material possessions. Secondly, in the ancient world, a slave had literally no time that he could have called his own. Every moment of his life belonged to his master. Today, a man has a prescribed amount of hours of work. Outside of these hours of work, his time is his own. But it was not so with the slave. The slave had literally no moment of time that belonged to him. Every moment belonged to his owner, and was at his owner's disposal. The analogy to the kingdom of God is this: 1. God owns us, and he can do whatever he wants with us. 2. Every moment of our lives belongs to God. There is no spiritual time and secular time for the believer. All of your time belongs to God. It is with this understanding in mind that Jesus said his disciples must serve each other. Always be ready to serve. This is the route one must take to greatness in the kingdom of God. Therefore, the one who will be great among the disciples of Christ must be completely submitted to others, as if he is owned by them.